Welcome once again, everyone. In my last discussion video, I focused on my favorite Transformers series. This time, I'm going to focus on one of my favorite aspects of Transformers.
Combiners.
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 An army of combiners!
I always found the idea of Transformers merging into more powerful forms to be an intriguing one. Admittedly, this was probably due to the fact that I was 5 when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers first debuted, and I absolutely loved the Megazord segments of the show. Because there is a mountain of information to cover on the subject, I'm going to split this discussion into multiple parts to do justice to each facet of the history of combiners. This first part will focus on the initial Generation 1 run of the Transformers brand. There is some contention among the fan community as to what actually qualifies as a combiner, but the general consensus is 2 or more Transformers that combine to form a new entity, or at the very least create a radical change in appearance. So things like Duocons, Headmasters, Target Masters, and Power Linksing with Minicons don't count. Another commonly used name for a combiner is Gestalt, though this typically only applies to large team combiners. The very first combiner, Devastator, was introduced in the toy line and in fiction in 1985, the second year of the Transformers brand. The toy was a modification of the Construction Machine Robo Team from the Diaclone toy line. In fiction, Devastator is typically depicted as the first combiner, though this isn't always the case. The next group of Gestalts to be introduced were the Scramble City or Special Team Combiners. Each team had 5 members comprised of 4 limb bots and 1 larger torso bot. These toys introduced the new feature of having interchangeable limbs that could form an arm or leg of any combiner of this type. The initial run of Scramble City combiners consisted of Superion, Menasor, Defensor, and Bruticus. Due to the fact that the toys for these characters were roughly the same size as Devastator's, they are often depicted in fiction as being of similar scale to him, despite the Constructicons being comprised of 6 members. Other works of fiction do depict Devastator as being larger and more powerful than his contemporaries, however. The Scramble City style would continue in the next few years with the additions of Computron, Abominus, and Piranacon. Piranacon broke the mold a bit by having 5 limbots and giving any one of them the ability to form a Target Master-like weapon mode to be held by the combiner. Fun fact, the earlier Scramble City torso bots could assume a base mode and connect to the City bots, Metroplex, and Trypticon. 1986 introduced Reflector, a camera made from 3 Decepticons named Spectro, Spyglass, and Viewfinder. More importantly, 1986 brought us Predaking. He was a 5 robot combiner, but did not have interchangeable limbs and was significantly larger than Scramble City combiners. These differences are mostly due to the fact that Predaking was designed by Gundam designer Mika Akitaka, rather than originating from the Diaclone line. In 1988, 2 Transformers mini-cassette combiners were introduced in the form of Slam Dance and Squawkbox. There was also the Power Master duo of Dreadwind and Darkwing, who could combine into a powerful superjet called Dreadwing. 1989 introduced the Pretender Monsters, 6 Decepticons with monstrous alt modes, and even more monstrous Pretender shells, that could combine to form the fearsome Monstructor. The final year of the US Generation 1 toy line brought us the Micromaster Combiner Squads, pairs of Transformers that combine to form a single vehicle mode. On the other side of the world, Japan created some combiners of its own, especially as they started to diverge away from the US Generation 1 storyline. Their Headmaster series brought in 2 new mini-cassette combiners called Decibel and Leg Out. It also brought about the 6-member train combiner, Raiden. Their next series, Super God Master Force, recolored Dreadwind and Darkwing as new characters, Buster and Hydra, who combine into Darkwings. More prominently, the series introduced Super Jinrai and God Bomber, who formed the mighty God Jinrai. Transformers Victory brought several new combiners as well as new types of combination. The Pretender monsters were recolored and given new dinosaur-based Pretender shells to create the new team, the Dino Force, who could combine to form Dino King. The Multi-Force were a team of 6 Autobots who could form 2 robot combiners in any of 30 different combinations. The 6 Autobots could further combine all together to form Landcross. Another Autobot team, the Brainmasters, could form a 3-robot combiner named Road Caesar. Probably the most famous combiner from Transformers Victory, however, is Liokaiser, a 6-robot combiner formed by the Decepticon team, the Breast Force. Liokaiser was notable for the time for requiring very little extra parts to form the combiner. Everything but the combiner's helmet was built into the component robots. The main protagonist of Victory, Starsaber, obtained the ability to combine with his friend Victory Leo to become the indomitable Victory Saber. In Transformers Zone, there was a trio of large, powerful Autobots called Powered Masters, who served as bases for their Micromaster teammates. Diatlas was the leader, who was joined by Sonic Bomber and Roadfire. Diatlas could combine with Sonic Bomber to form Sky-Powered, or with Roadfire to form Land-Powered. Alternatively, all 3 could merge into their ultimate form, Big-Powered. Yes, TAKARA was very creative with names back then. The short-lived Return of Convoy series maintained the heavy focus on Micromasters that began with Transformers Zone. Naturally then, there was a Micromaster combiner named Sixliner, which, as his name suggests, is comprised of 6 Autobots with train alternate modes. Optimus Prime returned in the series as Star Convoy and could combine with fellow Autobots Grandus and Sky Gary to become a super vehicle known only as the Triple Combination Battlestar Attack. Yep, TAKARA and those names. And the final series before the end of the original Generation 1 run of Transformers was Operation Combination, a simple toy line that focused mainly on combiners. There were several more Micromaster combiners, all carrying on the trend Sixliner started by having a name that begins with 6. There was 6 Builder, 6 Train, 6 Turbo, and 6 Wing. Additionally, we were introduced to the Bruticus Redeco, Battle Gaia, as well as the Defensor Redeco, Guard City. The fact that TAKARA TOMY hasn't updated these through their Unite Warriors toy line is disappointing to say the least. Well, this concludes our look at the early days of the combiner mythos. The next part of this discussion will focus on the non-Generation 1 combiners that appeared in following years. So I hope you found this video to be informative, and I look forward to bringing you the next chapter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.